on GoSuffolkRams.com. From Boston, Massachusetts, welcome to Suffolk Sounds, the official show for Suffolk University Athletics.
Hello and welcome to Suffolk Sounds. My name is Cam Brennan and you can follow me on Twitter at Cam_Brennan1. That's CAM_BRENNAN1. That's how you can find me and interact with me on social media. As for today's show, we have Suffolk head men's basketball coach, Jeff Juron. I sit down with Coach Juron in an exclusive one-on-one interview, and that's what you can expect from today's episode. We give you exclusive fan access that you never thought you'd get to before. We'll have conversations with the people that matter to you and get perspectives from those that have close ties to the Suffolk Athletic Department. You're going to get that all here on the Suffolk Sounds podcast. Now, with that being said, let me get back to Coach Juron. Juron enters his sixth season at the helms of the men's basketball program. Under his tenure, the Rams have not missed the postseason once, while producing a 18-win season during the 2018-19 campaign, the most wins in a single season since the mid-'70s for the Rams program. During that season, Juron also picked up the Conference Coach of the Year award. Today, we'll talk about the progression of the program under Coach Juron, reflect on last year's season, and what awaits the Rams in the CCC. This interview starts now. Coach Juron, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. I appreciate it.
No problem, Cam. Cam, before we get started here, I want to give you a shout out for starting this podcast, taking an initiative, and doing a really great job with it. I've listened to a few of them already. You're doing a great job. So thanks for getting the word out about Suffolk Athletics, and keep doing your thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's always fun talking to everyone and letting everyone know more of the inside scoop or whatnot of Rams athletics, you know. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the men's basketball program and your progression through the Rams itself, I want to just ask you, March, everything was kind of just shut down and kind of everything was put aside for them. I wanted to ask you, what are some of your quarantine activities? What was your routine, per se, as we all had to be cooped up inside for a couple months?
Yeah, it's been tough, and I think like everyone else, I've found new daily habits. I think the biggest thing for me is that my wife was pregnant throughout the quarantine, and we just welcomed our first son into the world August 22nd. So that took up most of my time and energy. I guess the silver lining of this pandemic for me is that I've been able to spend more time with my wife during her pregnancy, and then also with my son.
Absolutely, and that's always a great thing too, spending more time with others, and I think that's something that everyone has learned to appreciate more, that they have more time with their loved ones as well. Now, moving on to the basketball program, the men's program in general, I want to get a little bit of background information from you for those that may not know your background history of when you're coming to Suffolk. So describe maybe your path or journey in Suffolk, whether it be your athletic prowess at Rochester and even being an assistant at Rochester as well.
Yeah, sure. So I started coaching collegiately at Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs, New York. I was there for 1 year. I then moved to the University of Rochester, where I spent 5 years as an assistant. I got my master's degree at Rochester, and then spent 2 more years there as an assistant before getting the head coaching job at Suffolk. And so I also played at Rochester. And so really kind of the 9 years I spent out there as a player and coach is where I drew most of my experience as far as, my philosophy on how a college basketball program should be run.
Yeah, and taking from that philosophy itself, the Rams program under your tenure has only seen progression, and looking at all the seasons throughout, we've seen how every season has progressively been better, and that culminated in 2018. But before we get to that individual season, talk about the progression through the seasons. Like, what were your first reactions like coming in your first year as a head coach, and then maybe the evolution of your team and being able to shape it in your particular image and how you want the program to be run. Can Can you just take me through that briefly?
Yeah, sure. So it didn't start off so smooth. We weren't, ready when I first got here, to win 18 games. It took some time to build it up. And I think some of those early years, we were really throwing some underclassmen who weren't exactly ready for this level into the fire. But what I think that it did is it sort of sped up their improvement, and as a result, the collective improvement of the program. And so really kind of our senior class that graduated last year and the class previous to them were the guys that were really given an opportunity to play right off the bat as freshmen and sophomores, and were able to grow quickly and build the program over time to where we are now, where we expect to have winning seasons. And so it didn't happen overnight. These things never do. But I'm definitely proud of the steps that we've taken, but also not satisfied with where we are. We want to continue to push the envelope.
Absolutely. And that progression kind of really reached, not its peak, but really hit a really interesting point in the 2018-19 season. The team recorded its most wins since the 70s, 1975. And in that same year, you were named GNAC Coach of the Year as well. And that itself had to be kind of an accolade of like, this is how far I've been able to bring this program from a team that was just making it into the playoffs to a team that finished first in the regular season and was awarded second based off tiebreakers. What was that overall reaction of reaching that point of named Coach of the Year and recognizing that this progression has paid off, and not only has it paid off, but it's led to success?
Yeah, it's always nice to be recognized, but I think the key here is nobody does this alone. And so the award was for Coach of the Year. I wish it was for Coaching Staff of the Year. There's been a lot of assistants along this journey since I've been here at Suffolk who have helped build the program to where it is now. And listen, coaches don't win those awards unless the players commit to the program as well. And so the award was nice, but I think it was more a reflection of the work that our staff and our players had put in over the previous 4 years.
Absolutely. And that season definitely will be a season to remember, not only for you, but in Suffolk Rams history as well. Now, I want to take you through last year as well. Last year was a very competitive season, not only within conference, but with out-of-conference opponents as well, facing tough teams like Tufts University going to their home court and pulling off a win, and then also taking on nationally ranked Albertus Magnus within conference too, and getting a win against them as well. There were definitely a lot of great strengths in those games as well, but it all seemed to come together on the big stage, right?
Yeah, last year's team, it was an interesting team. We seemed to be our best against the best, and so we played probably the most challenging schedule that we've played to date, and I thought that we were very good on days when we were playing against nationally ranked opponents, and but at the same time, we weren't as consistent as we wanted to be either. And so I think there were some definite high water marks last year. Some of those wins are some of the best that our program has ever had. But at the same time, when we reflect on last season, one of the takeaways is we want to be more consistent day to day in years ahead than we were last year. But there's no question. The win at Tufts, the win over Albertus Magnus. We also had wins against Brandeis and Salem State at full strength. And, those are teams that are annually NCAA tournament caliber teams. So, I think we're proud of those wins, but not overall satisfied with the consistency of the season.
And especially too, over the course of the season, it was a very difficult GNAC season as well. Teams 3 through 7 in the postseason playoffs all had the same conference record, but were all knocked down via tiebreakers. So it was a very competitive season, not only for you, but within the GNAC as well. But changing lanes from the GNAC, the Rams are moving into the CCC, and CCC has a lot of great competition as well, and it'll bring it up to 9 to 10 teams and conferences that you can play. I want to ask you, what are some of your hopes and expectations when we do get back to the court?
Yeah, well, I just think when you think about the CCC, you're talking about a really quality league, top to bottom. I could be wrong, but I think there was only 2 teams in the conference a year ago that finished under 500. So you have quality teams top to bottom. You have great talent. You have really good coaching. So we're looking forward to just a nightly grind in the CCC. I think all coaches say this, but there's really no nights off, and that's something that we're looking forward to. I think it's going to test us. I believe that it's one of the ways that you improve as a program is more consistently playing better competition. So we're excited about the move to the CCC. To be honest, it doesn't change a whole lot about how we're going about our day-to-day in the program here. Obviously, COVID has changed a lot about how we're operating this fall. But in terms of philosophically, I mean, the focus is still going to be on us. We're still going to have an identity on the court that we're going to try to maximize. We have certain values that we're going to try to play to. So none of that is going to change because we're moving leagues.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you, I know your official Twitter account, Suffolk M Basketball, posted the new jerseys that are going to be repping on the court this year. I want to get your opinion on the aesthetic. Do you like them? I like the side stripes. I have to be honest. I like the side stripes on them.
Listen, Cam, you're coming to the wrong guy for style advice, but yeah, look, I think the jerseys are nice. They're brand new. The guys are happy about them. If you judge by the Instagram reaction to them, I think we did a pretty good job with them.
Absolutely, and I look forward to seeing them when they hit the court soon, whether that be in practice or during a game itself. Coach, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Cam. Again, you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Ram Nation, if you like what you heard today on the Suffolk Sounds podcast, be sure to visit our website, GoSuffolkRams.com. That's GoSuffOok.com, where you can find all you need to know about Suffolk athletics. While you're there, be sure to follow the Rams on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the same name for an insider's look. Don't forget to subscribe, like, rate us, and give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to Suffolk Athletics official show. Send in your questions. Who would you like to hear from, whether it be a player or a coach? We'll be sure to bring something new to every single show. In fact, be sure to tune into our next episode when we talk to Suffolk head softball coach, Jacqueline Davis. Until then, I'm Cam Bredden. Talk to you soon, Ram Nation.
This has been Suffolk Sounds. Don't forget to subscribe, like, rate, and review however you listen to your podcast.